Hello and welcome to another episode of the GreenZone podcast, brought to you as always by myself, Chris, my friend Chrissy over there. On the far side, we've got Dave, and joining us this week is Owen AFI.Redesigned Connolly and Dara Under Center Podcast Maher. Welcome, lads. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Howdy.
Yeah. As always, the views and opinions in this podcast in no way reflect that of the AFI. We swear. Need to do the ticker? There we go. Strong language.
Yay! So professional.
So, it's Bull Week. It's Bull Week. The whole season has come down to this. Yeah, like this has been an absolute slog. An absolute slog. There's been no breaks for anyone. There hasn't. It's been absolutely crazy. And as it is Bull Week, one of two, we at the GreenZone and our friends AFI.Redesigned and Under Center are joining forces to bring you AFI Under Green Resigned. Ah, fuck. Right? We'll do it again. Right. Stage right. We'll go again. AFI Under Green Resigned. Fuck. AFI Under Green Redesigned Center Zone.
Gotta sing it like a little song.
Yeah, we'll get a mnemonic in for it. So, what's a crack, guys?
I was just here for you trying to pronounce that. That was great. So
yeah. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. So, well, we just jump straight into it. We'll start with the D2 Bull, the Wexford Eagles, and unfortunately the Causeway Giants.
Oh,
what was that there?
No, that was me.
I didn't say him.
Sorry.
Like I know guys.
That's kind of harsh.
But I was like, unfortunately, the Giants, like they did get there.
But
they still got.
Yeah, they got there. A lot more.
Why, are we going to talk about how they got there?
We'll talk about. Well, yeah, we'll talk about their season up until now. I think the main crux of it is that they were that afraid of the Pirates that there was more Giants than usual. So there was.
I didn't know Causeway was that big of an area.
It is. It's massive catchment area.
Yeah.
They joke that like the islands just off the coast of Northern Ireland are theirs as well. I didn't realize that stretched as far as Birmingham.
What I will say is the whole Giants Causeway story, not that the Giant ran to like the other island over there, like
Scotland.
Yes.
Scotland. I didn't know Scotland.
That other island.
I didn't want to
over
say Scotland, and then you all go, oh, it was England. But no, yeah, he ran over to Scotland. So technically.
Yeah, technically Causeway. Yeah.
Just have to drive underwater for a wee bit.
Yeah, from what I heard, the two BAFA players were on that coast of Scotland. You can see from Portrush, and the head people of the Giants just shouted, "Do you want to play for the Giants?" And they just put up thumbs, and that was it.
Yeah. It was a clear day. It was during that heat wave.
And they laid out some like hexagonal stones, and they could get across. It was great.
Yeah, it's the modern day Finn McCool.
Oh, lovely.
I'm going to have so many messages after this now.
Yes, and it's going to be fantastic. But yeah, let's dive into the Giants. So one of the few teams in D2 last season that didn't wake up in March as a D1 team. This year they've kind of really cemented themselves as the second best team there once Trinity left. I think developmental wise, I said at the start of the season that they're trying to do a lot in comparison to where they were last year. So they are very, very, very intense training, new playbooks and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. They're now traveling their way down to Dundalk in a bowl game. And I think it was at the first bowl game the Giants have been to. Somebody could correct me here if I'm talking shit.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
It is correct.
So I think, we know a bit for the Pirates for last season, but I mean, you would know a lot more than how they are this season. How do you think they compare to the last year?
They're definitely a more physical side this year. They've gotten some either additions or just the guys have gotten better on the line, which is obviously, given their quarterback, whoever it's been at the time to obviously execute plays. I think, what's his name? Is it Kristen? Is his name?
The big ginger fella.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He switched over this year to O-line from D-line. We had a few battles with him this year. He was on a podcast that shall not be named. And it was mentioned that I went out injured in that game, and he looked side to side as if he didn't know what was going on. He was the one that injured me, so he shouldn't know what was going on. He was the one. He was whose head went into my head, which caused me to get an evaluation for my head to see if I was sane enough to go back in, which I actually did go back in, so I was fine. But no, look, they have improved. Obviously, Conan bringing in his new playbook has really helped. Like you said, they had camps pre-season, obviously playing against the Seahawks and training with them for 2 days and stuff like that. And as the season's gone on, obviously you can see that they've gotten more comfortable with the playbook and they've played well. And look, listen, we joked at the start about obviously that what happened in the semi-final, but they've proved this year that they are the second best team in this division and that they should be going to the bowl game anyway, and not just beating us obviously 3 times, but they have played well and they've proved that they should be in the bowl. But whether they win on Saturday is a whole different matter though.
Yeah, I mean, we know as well that bowl games, fucking anything could happen. I mean, if you look at last season.
Are you going to bring it up?
Where's your medal?
I'm not going to bring it up.
I don't have your medal?
It's under my pillow still. But yeah, like the week leading up to each of the bowl games last season, the Mavs were going to take it, the Vikings were going to take it, the Rebels were going to take it, and none of them did. So just because the Eagles are during the regular season in upper echelon again from them doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a one-sided bowl game.
True. I don't think the Eagles had the same issues though as the Mavericks had last year, because numbers became a big problem for them towards the end of the last season, and that's the one thing the Eagles don't have an issue with. They have fucking loads of them out there that are wanting to play, coming from everywhere. It's wanting to play for Coach Glatt and the Eagles. So I think the one thing that, obviously not the only thing that caused Loud to lose that game, obviously Hughes played better than them on the day and obviously deserved to win the game. But, one of the big things we said all season about them last year, about the Mavericks last year was, geez, they've only got 16, 17, 18 players, so that catches up and it caught up on the ball. But like I said, that's one thing that the Eagles don't have an issue with is numbers.
Yeah, and let's not forget they were a competitive D1 team last season, and Judah Bylaw went down. And from experience, there's a big fucking jump. There is a big fucking jump when you come.
I don't agree.
Yeah,
I felt like the same to me. Same caliber.
that's because so many teams came up to me.
I was waiting for laughter there. I was staring at Chris, and the guy was giving me nothing. I was like, man, I know we got hammered every week. I know that. I'm making a goddamn joke to get away from the desperation and the suffering that we took this year.
Yeah, but he's
I actually
fuck.
thought you were being.
he's nursing his 3-day hangover. Come on, Dave. He's old.
I know.
His brain isn't
I went out.
firing as much.
It was the first on the rip from the birth of the child, like proper on the rip, and fuck me, like I'm just not built for that shit no more. It's like 9:30, and I'm like, my call it, you know. Fucking tired.
Yeah, it's me, literally.
Yeah. But on the other side of the bull, you've got the Eagles. As I said, last year's in D1 couldn't field, had sort of player issues, had to go down. These things happen, and to say that they've dominated would probably be a bit of an understatement.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the score lines. You know, there was only one game that held them to less than 30 points, which was the opener against Trinity. Dara, again, I'm going to go back to you. You've been tussling with these guys this year. They were up against you 38-3. Again, they're a different breed than the Giants, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. Actually, strange enough, despite the scoreline, I think that was probably one of our best performances of the year. Because I think in the first quarter, I think we had 3 turnovers on defense against them. And then we obviously went 3-0 up, and then that was the end of it. But like, I think it was the second quarters when they did their damage. And this is what they've done all year as well. They adjusted, and they saw what was going on, and they were able to adjust, and just they absolutely destroyed us on the ground. Those sort of jet sweeps as well were sort of killing us in that game, and that I don't know if you've seen any of their games this year, but Owen, you'd know too, because you filmed a few of them. But they're like I formation of like 3 guys right behind the quarterback when they're on offense, and you never know which person's going to get the ball. It's almost impossible to stop, because either the guy at the back has it and he has 2 extra lead blockers, or the guy at the front has it who's an absolute unit who they'll use for short yardage, and you probably won't get to stop him. The coach class has them so well drilled, and you know, they're not too expansive with their plays or anything. They have a set amount of plays, obviously, that they use, but they do them so well. And they're all buying in. They're all drilled in, and they're just like that. They're a D1 side playing in D2, and it shows.
Yeah. Yeah, it is extremely hard to look past them to just go down and just take the bull from the Giants' hands in Dundalk. I mean, would anyone disagree with me on that?
No.
I mean, Chris, you're the Giants mega fan here. You're the president of the club.
But that's the thing. Like, they are putting in the work, and it's shown that they've put in the work. But so have the Eagles. And Coach Klatt seems to have something working that just other teams can't figure out. Like Dara said, it's a finite amount of plays, but he's got them working so cohesively that they work all the time. So, and yes, the Giants' standard in coaching from last year to this year has completely changed. Like, the amount of work Conan put in is insane. But I remember even looking at the playbook at the start of the year being like, how is all of this going to work? You know, there's still a lot of guys that would look at that and not understand what was happening. And you could tell at the start of the season, there was a lot of growing pains. And that was even with camps and training sessions with the Seahawks. So they'll definitely be in a better place than where they were at the start of the season. But Wexford are just going to run away.
Yeah. I mean, Owen, out of us all, you're the one with the SBC experience, and you've seen these guys play. You know, I mean, are you seeing a clear difference between the two teams?
Yeah, I mean, I filmed both once this season. I think it was both teams' first game of the year, so you can take from that what you will. But like the Giants did look good, but like Coach Klatt is just a different class. Like he turned to me while I was filming and goes, "In 5 plays, make sure you're recording." 5 plays later, they went and scored a touchdown. I was like, "What's going on? How did you do that?"
Please tell me he did it like while smoking a cigar. He's just like, just watch
I wish.
it.
But, yeah, he.
Why did I do that? Someone's gonna screen grab that.
I did it too.
And you know exactly who. You know exactly who.
Yes,
Oh,
the
well.
bastard.
Me.
Oh, I thought we won.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he just Coach Platt sees the game in just a different way to everybody else. He's just so good. Like we had him up with he was coaching for the Panthers last year. He's incredible. Like he's just such a great coach. Yeah, like I don't know a whole lot about the Giants because it was very early in the season when I saw them. It's a long time ago, so I kind of forget. But like I can't see anybody beating the Eagles.
Yeah. No, it's almost game set and match. But going on from that, what does this mean for D2 now? If we still have a D2 next year, is it going to be Jets, Pirates, and that's it? And
the loser on Saturday.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Jets, Pirates, and Jets. I'll listen to the same thing. Just fucking send everyone up.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. That's Aiden. Whenever we last spoke to him, he was saying D2 is developmental. It's like, okay, but what do you distinguish as developmental? Yes, the Giants coach Conan have turned around to Aiden and say we're going to stay in D2 because we have completely rebuilt the structure. And it was smart because they needed that growing room to be able to maybe move up with however the league is going to be structured next season. But you can't turn around to some teams and say the league are deeming you as developmental, even though you've got a setup, even though you've got coaching. We're saying you're developmental and you'll only play a finite amount of games. Everyone else will get 8. It depends on how the league are going to define what a developmental team is, and I think a lot of teams might have an issue with that.
Yeah, I think the league, if they had that decision back of allowing the Razorbacks and the Mavericks to go up, and I know the Mavericks are obviously showing up that they are SBC quality, but you talked about how they lost the bowl against the Jets last year. It was down to a lack of numbers. And then the Razorbacks completely changed in the offseason. Like, surely that's the definition of developmental. And plus, you would give the teams like the Eagles not fair, but like a more competitive game, considering the numbers they have and the experience they have. Like, they have SBC experience. So they could have had good games against the Mavs, and then the Razorbacks could learn so much more. But just to sort of backtrack a bit, I actually really enjoyed the wee battles between the Giants and the Pirates all year. I actually always look forward to it because it was the only real rivalry in that league that was good. But I actually found that the Giants, now, Dara, you would have a better insight, but the Giants hammered the Pirates at the start. It was like 26, 27 nil.
26
And then it got closer at each battle. And you see it in the semi-final, and I know they had 2 suspect players, and we'll never
in key positions.
We'll never let them forget it. I thought the Pirates had better possession and better drives. You just couldn't get it into the end zone. That was the only problem you had. You had really good drives, and the Giants just were able to. My throat is fucked. Not even going to mute it. I'm just going to cough and leave it in. But the Giants sort of got 2 touchdowns off 2 big plays, and that was it. But everyone was writing off the Pirates all day, like, no, they'll beat the Pirates, no problem. But I think next season, just put everyone in Division 1. Teams are going to get their lumps. Look at the Jets this year. They took their lumps, more than enough lumps. I think there's plenty of wins for every team in the league in Division 1, including the Pirates and the Giants. And if Trinity want to come back.
You just with that, that's the story of our year this year. Like we've been able to go on drives, but once we hit that red zone, I don't know if people became nervous. I don't know if people just forgot things or something like that in the playbook, but we just couldn't hammer it in. Like that game in the semi-final, I think we had 12 plays on their 5-yard line due to like penalties and stuff, obviously restarting the downs. Just couldn't punch it in. No matter I don't know what, we just couldn't punch it in. And it was the same in that 8-7 game earlier on in the season. We had 4 trips to the end zone, scored a touchdown on our first trip. The second one, we had a field goal blocked, and then the other 2, we just couldn't punch it in either. It's obviously, if we can get that sorted this offseason, and we can then hopefully make some decent progress. But I actually agree with you. At the start of this year, I was against the idea of having basically like a giant D1. I just thought maybe you still had to have a D1 and D2. But as this year's gone on, and obviously the shit with Trinity and them not coming back next year, now you will have 10 teams possibly in D1 if you do combine it. So you can do a D1 North and a D1 South. And I've looked at ways of doing it, and I think that you can have your 8 games. So you play the closest to you from the previous year twice, home and away, and then you play the other 2 teams in your division once, one home, one away, and then you play 2 teams from, this is if I do a North-South, sorry, and then you play another team from the other conference, one home, one away. There's your 8 games, playoffs. 2 best from the North, 2 best from the South play each other. Then the best in the North, the best in the South face each other. Winner goes up. We would have I think that would be the best way. The only complications that come from it is, say for example, let's say if you put Limerick in the South Conference, if this was this year and Limerick win the bowl this week, they go up. That means there's a team missing from the South Conference, but the Cowboys are the team that are after being relegated, which would naturally go in the North Conference. You'd have to rejig it. So that's the complication that comes along. But I think you're right, Dave. I think sort of having one large Division 1, I think might be the way forward.
Yeah. Isn't that how they're doing the flag? Isn't it? Like, who was it? Owen, you were saying was going to be put into the North. Was it the Pirates flag team was going to be in the North division?
That's not public information.
No, we're not. We're not.
Who gives a shit?
I'm already
cares.
I'm looking after flag this year. I'm already pissed off that I have to do at least 2 trips down to Cork as part of the season. If we get moved into the North, where I'm going to have to go up north for most weeks, not a chance.
I'm just using it as an example. That's the way it could work for D1.
Right. Allegedly, it might work this way.
Oh, wait, hang on. There we go. There we go. Say whatever the fuck we want.
I'll say what I want. I'll do what I want.
Yeah, but do you think a team such as the Pirates would benefit from going up against the likes of, say, the Crusaders or the Rhinos? I mean, there'll be hard games. Hard games.
There will be hard games, but again, you can't expect to have easy games every week either. You have to play hard games. Sometimes these hard games are the ones that actually make you better, because you see what these better drill teams can do, and it just shows you a pathway of how you can get better. Like we shouldn't feel like we should be put in a division where we are one of the top teams in it and we deserve to be in that all the time. Because if we were to go, let's say if things were different and we were in the bowl game this week and we somehow beat the Eagles, despite the fact that we've won one game via forfeit this year, and then we get promoted, we're going to have those hard games then next year, but we wouldn't probably be in a position to actually play those games either. I think there is always going to be hard games, and I think that it kind of makes you get better in terms of like, okay, you don't want to keep losing these games. All right, let's put the work in training. Let's put the work in the gym. Let's do the film study, and let's try and work this out and become a competitive team.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. Like, there's going to be the hard games, as you say, and it is like, fuck it. Stop trying to figure out a way that you can play the same team 5 times in a season so you can get your games, and just pull the plug. Just get everyone in a big fucking Thunderdome.
Yeah, like but this season was like Division 2 was unfair to almost all teams because there was very few. There wasn't much game time that any team could actually get. You know, like, so why not put them into that division? And they're all going to be on the same boat. That all teams are going to be coming from Division 2. So there is going to be wins out there for everyone, or at least competitive games. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you finish 0 however many games, 0-8 or whatever, you should have learned so much from that year. And then you can recruit as well and say, look, we can play 8 games. Whereas in Division 2, like, how many games did you play this year, Dara? Like, without forfeits and
5.
5.
Yeah. So we didn't play we didn't play the home game against the Eagles. We didn't play the home game against Trinity, and then we would have played a 3rd, 4th place game against Trinity as well. Because we didn't make the bowl, but obviously that's not happening either. So only the 5 games this year.
Yeah, and your fees cost the same as ours.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
League fees. League fees.
Yeah.
League fees.
I was going to say, like,
I'm pretty sure, Chris, that's what you brought up to Aiden whenever we talked about this. You had made that very point to him. Everyone is paying the same amount to be part of this league. It's unfair to limit what game time people are getting because, again, of what the league decides is a developmental team.
Yeah, it's also a hard one, and I can see where the league is coming from, that they don't want the scenario where, like, you have the month of April and you have 3 games in April: Pirates Vikings, Pirates Rhinos, Pirates Mavs. Like, it was very hard for the Jets after getting butt knuckled to keep the enthusiasm and the momentum to carry on. And I mean, I think after those 3 games, our next game was a forfeit because we just didn't have bodies.
Yeah, but it was also like, I do think because this year was condensed down to accommodate the flag championships that you wouldn't know were going on. You know, because like, I think the Jets had 4 games back to back. I think it was
at least 3. I don't know. I got hit a lot.
You got it, but it's like, you can't expect teams to be able to keep that momentum whenever that is how the league is scheduled. Never mind if it was positive outcome games, you know, not necessarily wins, but closer competitions, more competitive matches. Whenever you have back to back to back, no rest, you're looking at 22 players, you know, that is naturally going to drop the standard. But we can't put that all on teams' abilities. The league needs to turn around and say, we have to make it so that the season can be as competitive as it can be and can be as enjoyable and worthwhile for the people giving up their family time at weekends don't want to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And look, there's always ways around that in terms of doing the fixtures up. Like I said, if there's a way you can say, if the Pirates were in Division 1 and they finished, if there was no relegation, or if the Jets say they finished last, they finished last, there's no relegation. So a majority of their games next year will be made up of the teams that were closest to them in the league. So that's their level. So you know, like, I think who was it to finish second last? Was the Vipers?
Yeah.
Finish second last?
Yeah.
So you know you're playing the Vipers home and away next year. So that's a standard to get to at least. And then whoever was after that, probably the Razorbacks were after that or something like that. So those two teams you'll be playing, there's 4 year games next year that you know are going to be competitive.
And the Vipers game was very close, the first one, the Jets-Vipers game, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was
Was
12.
Yeah.
That is me genuinely being like, was it? Because I don't remember.
It was. It was like it was only 12-0. But I think it's we lost all. I think there was a lot of giving up went down in the last game.
Yeah, that's.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You weren't there, man.
I know. I wasn't there.
You played for the Panthers.
I don't know what it was like.
Successful.
Yeah.
I think the only argument I would have on that sort of fixture set list, Dara, is you'll have teams like, say, the Mavericks to win the bowl, but they have to play the Crusaders twice and the Razorbacks and the Rhinos, whereas the Jets got to play the Vipers and stuff. Like, you look at the Razorbacks this year, beat the Jets twice and the Vipers once, and they nearly got into the playoffs. Whereas the Rhinos had one of the best defenses possibly in the country, but just squeaked in because they didn't play the Jets twice, and I think they played the Vipers once. So it's one of those things. Whereas maybe you could just split the leagues again. Like, you could have a Division Group B and Division 1 Group A or whatever.
Don't call it 2 because people get upset.
Yeah, developmental league. But yeah, no, I just think lump everybody in, random fixtures or closest location, north-south, and just let teams bash it out. If you get hammered, that's okay. Start again next year and improve. That, to me, is the fairest way.
See, it's very easy just to say, okay, go again next year. But like you said, and like you guys have been saying, people give up, you know, and then to give up halfway through the season, either mentally or physically, where they just stop showing up. And that's when that starts happening. It's impossible to bring it back. And then you might have a scenario where you are starting again. So that's why I'm not, like, I wasn't saying in terms of, like, say, like you're saying, the Mavericks or something like that don't go up, and they would have to face the Crusaders twice, something like that. They would still face the other teams in their division once. So there is still those games there.
Oh, okay.
It's not as if you're not touched. It's not as if they're never going to play the Vipers or they're never going to play the Jets. They would still play them once, but the teams that you play home and away would be the ones that finished closest to you last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so for the competitiveness of the league, that would be better. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all based on seeding in that regard.
Are we going to do predictions for the D2 Bowl now after we've done such a deep dive on the league?
Yes, a deep dive league analysis. If only there was some way of getting an update from Aidan this week, if he was doing a show or something like that.
What?
Okay. It wasn't just
next week.
Oh, fuck! Sorry. If only there was some way of getting an update, like from like Aidan or something like that next week. You know, if only there was some sort of update.
Next week. I don't know. I think I might know.
Plug your show, Dara. Plug it.
Is it live?
It will be live.
Sweet. Okay.
Does it happen to have a really cool intro?
If I can get After Effects to start behaving, I can. Yeah.
So no, because After Effects is the devil.
Next week is a busy week because we got we have UCD next week coming on at the start of the week, and then we have Aiden, and then we are starting recording our new series that is going to be aired after the Shamrock Bowl, of course, focusing on women in the AFI and how. And I believe Chrissy, you're going to be one of my guests on it too. So
yes.
that starts recording.
Did you just remind me of that? Yes, you did.
Did I just remind myself that I asked you on it? Yes, I did.
So
yes,
let's. What time is it at?
TBC.
What day is it on?
It'll be on Thursday.
Thursday at evening. Tune in.
Thursday evening time. Yes.
Tune in.
Just keep YouTube open and keep refreshing until it comes up.
Yeah, we all like to support each other at AFI under Green Redesigned Center Zone.
Yeah.
Nice.
Perfect. Third time's a charm.
Yep. I'm not doing it again ever. Let's go around. Let's get our predictions for the D2 Bowl. Also, props to the Life Mavericks, who up until a few weeks ago didn't really know that they were going to be hosting the D2 Bowl, because Limerick's just too fucking far away. So those guys are going to be really tired because they have to do that and then to run the Limerick the following day to beat the Vikings. But we'll start with
leaving at 8:30 to go to Limerick.
Thank you for letting me know that. We'll start with yourself, Owen. D2 Bowl.
I mean, Eagles, but I don't think it'll be as one-sided. I think the Giants will put up somewhat of a fight. The Eagles are just so strong.
It's not Owen's big score fuckathon then, no?
I didn't know I got a big score fuckathon, do I?
Everyone gets one. Everyone gets one.
Okay.
You get a fuckathon. You get a fuckathon.
I mean, I think out of the bowls, it probably will be the most one-sided bowl, yeah.
That was the most mundane big score fuckathon ever.
Makes me more passion. Let's go anti-clockwise. So, Dara.
Yeah, Eagles. I can't see. After seeing the way both teams play and the fact that the Eagles beat them twice this year as well, I can't see the Giants winning this one, unfortunately.
And David?
It'll be interesting, and I'm saying this as not a joke, genuine interest. It'll be interesting to see how the two BAFA players play after having a game under the belt. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. I really want to see if two players don't make a team. So I think the Eagles will win overall, but it'll be interesting to see flashes of those guys in the game.
Yeah, some high quality
on the sidelines.
It's not a joke.
Chrissy.
Eagles. I do think Giants will get something on the board. I'm going to go with they'll get 8 points, but Eagles will just do what they've done all season.
Rolling clock or no rolling clock?
No rolling clock. No rolling clock, but they'll still win decently.
Do they allow rolling clock in bowl games? Oh, and you ref. You should know. Actually, you and Dara, you both ref.
TPO1.
TPO1. They don't really cover that in TPO school because they don't usually let us ref.
There's a TPO school?
It's a one-day course.
It's a one-day course.
I'd say there is. If it's 35-0, they'll probably do it on the
I'd
clock.
say, yeah. If it's getting out of hand, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's a stop, it's already dead kind of thing. So
I think a couple of years ago, in the D2 ball that was actually also in Dundalk, I think it was the Bulldogs against, I can't remember, was it the Jets? Might have been
Yeah,
the
I think it
Jets.
is the Jets, yeah.
And it was like 45-0 or something like that. And I think there was a rolling clock that date. So I'd assume.
yeah, I would say rolling clocks were the Jets' defensive MVP, like 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll echo what you guys said. Like, it's the only thing that could change the outcome is if the last of that grant money went to bring Tom Brady in. As a ringer, but no, it is. It's going to be the Eagles. It's going to be the Eagles by many. It's going to be my big score fuckathon. Is it going to be is it going to be AFI under Redesigned Center Zone's big score fuckathon?
You're in a rhythm now, so you're just gonna keep saying it. You're in a rhythm.
Throat clear,
I mean,
ready to party. Yeah.
Out of the 2 games, yes.
Out of the 2 games.
This is a 2 game.
Yeah. But more importantly, pizza party. It's at the Mavs.
Yeah.
Yep.
We need to confirm with the Mavericks whether official league media get pizza.
I was almost given pizza whenever I went to the last game, but I needed to get home because I was tired.
Given
Are
that
we
I
official?
invented the Mavs pizza party, we're official.
Are we?
Well, it's not like the league are going to cover it properly.
Listen.
Dara appreciated that. Dara appreciated that. Okay.
If
Owen
the
did
AFI,
secretly.
if the AFI want to put out a statement to say that the AFI under Green Redesigned Center Zone group are not official league media, let them tell us we're wrong, but we're official.
But they don't communicate well.
Yeah. We'll get
I
a
don't
statement
understand
next
the
month.
sentence because just sad, to be honest. I'm just like, yeah.
It's
Are we
li-
official? Are we officially
Official?
branding ourselves as official? Because we're
Yes.
officially the GreenZone podcast, not AFI
Yes.
affiliated.
Oh, but
My head hurts now.
we're official. We're like Facebook official.
We podcast officially.
Yes. Yeah, so it's given that we invented the pizza party for them, we should get some.
Nice.
Fair.
Yeah. Right, so moving on to the other game this weekend. It only took us 43 minutes to do the first one. Fantastic. We did say this would be about 55-minute episode, so quick fire through this one. Yeah, so we've got the Mavericks going all the way down to Limerick to meet Limerick, who are going just across the road to Gary Owen. Also, it's supposed to be a fucking thunderstorm on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
So that should be good crack, given there's no cover at all down at that stadium, down that ground, should I say. We'll actually, spoiler alert, we'll be going on the Mavs team bus. GreenZone funding the Mavs bus fare
party.
and also our own bus fare.
Bus party.
We'll be doing a road to Limerick, quite literally. So
we just have to get to Dundalk for 8:30.
yeah, get the dog for 8:30, and we will give you behind the scenes access to what goes through a D1 Bulls team's mind on Bull Day.
On the bus.
On the bus. And on the bus home. So fuck me, that'll either be a great bus home or not a very great bus home. We shall see.
Cans if they're happy, cans if they're sad, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Sad
And
cans
no
will be
cans
good
for us.
cans. No. Unless you want to pick me up, Chrissy.
You would have to pick me up.
Sorry, you broke up there. You were talking nonsense. Yeah. Right. We'll start with the Mavs, the unofficial team of the podcast. Like this season, I think the Mavs have shocked pretty much everyone. To quote somebody we used to work with, like it's crazy that the runner-up from last year's D2 Bowl is in the D1 Bowl, but they've come out all guns blazing and just set such a standard. Like you know yourself, Dave, they're a different team this year. They're just different compared to where they were last year.
Yeah. I bring it up every time we talk about the Mavs, but when we played them this season and Nathan play was all set out, everyone was out, and Nathan just went check the play and then threw a touchdown. Like that's what you aspire to be. I don't know what anyone else in the league aspires to be, but to have an offense to be that chill, to look at the play just before it goes off, knowing that you have to trust that everybody else knows, and then throw a touchdown. That's where your offense needs to be, confidence-wise. But like the Mavericks blitzed everyone all season, but the more the season's gone on, they've kind of stalled's not the right word, but it's almost like they've gone down a gear a wee bit.
They face the harder teams at the latter part of the season.
Yeah.
No, but like you look at the score there. I have the official AFI website up, so you know this is accurate. But the Mavericks,
high official.
This is officially official AFI website. So it's official. This is it. This is the full stop on official. This is the wee dot on the I on official. I don't know. Anyway, I'm drinking Monster. I'm going mad. Like you look at some of the score lines. Mavs beat us 56-0. They beat the Vipers 53-7. They beat the Crusaders 34-0. But then what was the score in the bowl game? 9-8 against the Crusaders.
Yeah.
And later on, they did beat the Razorbacks by quite a bit, but then they got beat by the Vikings. It was 6-12, and they only got 15 points against the Rhinos, and they needed 12 men to do it. Like there was signs of maybe not being as good a team as they were at the start of the season, but God, you can't dislike them. They are the coolest bunch of bastards, every single one of them. And we had Brandon on last week.
Yeah.
Cool guy, funny guy, dead on. And I've pretty much every Maverick I've met is the coolest guys. Like the three I met at Lorna Shore, gonna shout them out every week. Cool guys. Obviously Declan is a cool guy. And my dog is barking.
He's just agreeing with you.
That's really good.
He's just agreeing with you.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I don't know whose dog barked during the Ty Henry episode, fucking under center.
Oh yeah.
But I thought my fucking van exploded and I thought I was gonna die. Just fucking swerve wildly. But yeah, like the Mavs, that level of composure, like when you were saying Dara, going on drives, like you guys are grand, and then you kind of get within spitting distance of the end zone, and it's that point where both teams get that rise of adrenaline, which adrenaline great for defense, terrible for fucking offense because you lose your composure. The Mavs are just so able to switch that on, switch that off, because they're playing both ways most of the time. They'll come out on offensive drive, it's cool, everyone's very, very relaxed, and then I don't know if they go and take like a bag of smelling salts when they go on for defense and just turn into these wild animals. You know, it's absolutely insane. I mean, have you been down to any of their games this season? Were you not reffing one day?
I wasn't reffing one of their games. I was reffing the Vikings game up in Donegal when they played the Vikings. And that was, they just absolutely ran over the Vipers. That day Finn didn't even have to throw for that many attempts. They just ran the ball so well, and the Vipers had nothing to stop them. And then on defense, they were just all over the quarterback as soon as they could, and the Vipers couldn't do anything. But I was actually at the game between the Vikings and the Mavericks in Dundalk, the 6-12 game. And I'll be honest, at the start of that game, I was a little worried for Limerick because they couldn't get a first down for their first, I think, 3 offensive series. They just, like you were saying, Dave, that sort of ferocity on the defensive line with the blitzes and everything like that was in that game, and they just were all over them. But they adjusted, and Finn sort of, I think, played a bit more with his legs, rather than staying in the pocket and throwing, which won them the game. But mentioned it when we were talking about D2 that day. The numbers were an issue. I think they only had 16 fit players that day. I don't know what it's going to be like now on Sunday, because I'm not trying to sound bad against the Mavericks, but it's not a great sign if they have room for you guys on their bus.
But there wasn't room for us on the bus.
There wasn't originally.
Yeah.
Well, no, seriously, like it's still, you still have, if it's 16 guys, they're still tough, really, really good 16 guys like that. You're talking about Nathan as well at QB. I think it's the second full season at QB, and when we talked to him on the show, I mentioned to him, he's like he's playing Madden on easy mode, scoring 40, 50 points a game at that stage. And I guess now that's coming into it, where it's the real, these are the games that really, really matter. And obviously it doesn't get any bigger for them this year than the game on Sunday. Let's see if the inexperience could become a factor. It's such an important position, having a player only in his second year might be something to look at, and maybe something that the Vikings are going to target. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think part of me really, really wants the Mavs to just go deck the Vikings, go up the Shamrock Bowl. But I think ultimately that 16 player, 17 player, 19 player, whatever they kind of feel, they've got away with it. Mm-hmm. They got away with it last year. They got away with it this year. And I don't think you can get away with it too well up in the SBC, unless you're the Panthers and you field a couple of trendy players.
I disagree.
Sorry, I couldn't resist it. I had to find the link. I had to find the link to get me up there. But no, it isn't. I think, as far as if you were to look at both teams, as far as who would do better in the SBC, I think there is one clear favourite there. But fuck, wouldn't it be great if the plucky Mavs on their bus paid for by the league, by everyone else, just to go down, get on, it's those fairy tale endings that I like.
I think the Jets being in it's more of a fairy tale. Sorry, going ahead on.
You ruined that fairy tale end on them last year.
I know. And I failed.
I want the fairy tale end. You fucked it on them last year.
Exactly.
When it was more of a fairy tale.
I feel a penance that I owe to them. That's why I'm all in on the Mavericks. Yes.
He's saying this so he doesn't get kicked off.
It'll be I had tried, and I might wear it to the Shamrock Bowl, but I did order a T-shirt that says Mavs for Sam on it, but it's not going to be here this week.
No.
So,
you're just going to have this random shirt for the rest of your life.
You know what? No. You know what's going to be? I'll donate it to them, or I wear it to any game I go to.
Frame it. Get it framed.
for the first person that spots you in it on the stream, they get a prize. They have to either screenshot the stream or take a picture of you in person at the Shamrock Bowl and send
Wearing
it
the
in.
Mask for Sam
I'm
t-shirt.
just going to be
Yeah,
stuck
wearing the
next to
mask for Sam, and whoever gets it first gets a prize.
Yeah, it'll be me leaving the house. My missus just like,
Wait.
chink.
Once kickoff starts.
Chris, you
Yeah.
can send it my way because I'm literally at an All-Ireland semi-final that day. If someone snaps me with Mavs for Sam, they can win that prize we've been trying to get rid of for the last 3 weeks.
What are you trying to say that our Cork Admirals Fun Day face painting competition generated 0 entries? Is that what
Do you
you're
want to know
trying to
something?
say?
I would love someone to submit an entry to that. That would be fucking amazing if someone did their
You know
face
what the
paint.
issue with that was? I don't know who told them to show up, but there was a whole lot of kids in the queue, and none of them wanted GreenZone on their face.
Why not?
What?
Because they're
Get out of the
children,
way,
they're
let me-
hateful creatures.
Yeah, well, we'll not make the Manscaped joke.
Here's little Mary, 8 years old, with your manscaped. There you go, Mary. You go and enjoy your smooth fucking balls.
No.
No!
Stop that train of thought
Your
right
pair
now.
of boxers in size XL, man. Sure.
Fucking Look, there's room for 5 years. Away you go.
We need another Manscaped sponsor. It's too goddamn funny.
Yeah.
You're gonna get this partnership cancelled before it's even fucking started.
Oh,
it is. Like, I miss. Like, I genuinely had so much fun trying to talk about my smooth shaved testicles. Like,
it was holiday.
it was. But in fairness, it wasn't it a
Look,
brilliant
I'm sure-
episode to end it on.
I'm sure there's websites there that you can charge people to listen to you talk about your smooth testicles if you want.
Yes, but it's like real, like ASMR. The S is for smooth.
Subscribe to the GreenZone OnlyFans.
Yes. Yeah, we're launching an OnlyFans/Patreon.
I think what made me laugh the most about that was you were like, Chrissy, there's a female read. And I was like, no.
Yeah, like, so I'm gonna pull back the influencer curtain here. Yeah, so when you get this stuff, so they send you out like these stacks of shit. Stacks of really good product. And they send you, and you sign your contracts for I'll do this, that, and the other. And then they give you like the talking points. Like, so here's what you talk about. Here's things you can say. Here's things you can't say. Don't speak in definites. Don't try to cause any hassle. But it's like there's like a PG read, a non-PG read, but there's like a female one, and like the female non-PG, it just opens up. It's like, talk about a time where you had sex with a guy with terrible balls. I was just like, what the fuck?
I don't have much pride, but there's some. There's some.
It's like, Chrissy, it'll be really good for the show.
Oh, this isn't groomed at all. You didn't even get started.
On my luck, that would be the one episode my mother would watch.
Which I showed it to your granny there. What are we talking about?
What about them Vikings?
What about them Vikings?
What about them Vikings?
Yeah. What can you say? 8-0. No, that's with the luxury of having a forfeit from the Jets. They
They
real
would have
upset
won
in the apple cart.
That would have been like a 60. That would have been like a 60-0.
That did them harm. Yeah, they could have got double the points.
Imagine being arrested for a week. How dare they? They got to train for a week.
Yeah, but they haven't been as prolific score-wise in comparison to the Mavericks. I mean, the Mavericks, you'd probably say this is a battle of Division One's best offense to the second best defense in the division. You know, if we discount the Rhinos, but I mean, it's an offensive team against a defensive team. And as we've seen in recent years, even at the top level, it's starting to be that the game of chess that is the NFL is leaning more towards offensive teams than on defensive teams. The Legion of Boom era is officially gone. Owen, have you been down? You covered a couple of these Vikings games, didn't you? No.
Nope, haven't seen Commanders or the Vikings.
Fair enough. Then.
Just talk about them.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, last week I asked the question while Brendan and Finn were on. Had they been studying the AFI.Redesigned Game of the Week videos for their semi-finals because it had their two opponents in it? And Brendan had never heard of me. So I'm going Vikings.
I don't care about the statistics.
Yeah.
You got some grief on that stream last week.
I did.
Kind of
I kind of
self-inflicted,
brought it on
though.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Alan from the Admirals
Alan,
that fucking tore India.
Yeah, he came up to me on Sunday at the playoff game and he just laughed. Fair enough. But no, yeah, both of them have been so good, and I don't think either of them really showed anything in that game that they played against each other. Like
Intentionally, I'd imagine.
Yeah, didn't Loud sit Nathan for the first, or was it the Vikings sat Finn for the first half or something? Like one of them.
No, Loud, Mavericks sat Nathan out for the first half.
Yeah, so you can't really draw any conclusions from that game, and I don't know what other conclusions you can really draw. They both seem to be pretty good at winning, so.
So important in this game.
I have no idea. I have really no idea. I will be commentating though.
Oh,
I have no idea about both teams, but I will be commentating on this game.
But Dave, you don't need to know anything. Do you know past Cam on done it? You can sometimes confuse positions and think that the quarterback is a running back.
And a wide receiver. And also.
Yeah, are they going to do like they do at the Trojans for your guy, where they give you just like the fucking giant A3 sheet of here's everyone, here's all their details.
Here's their nicknames and what they do for a living.
I still can't believe at the Trojans game at the Cowboys, and they're like, here's their punter, Owen Hughes, I think it was. He hit the longest punt in Cowboys history last week. I was like, how the fuck did you get that stat? Who was collecting those stats? The Cowboys have been going for 30 years. Maybe more than that.
That was the best part of their playing the Trojans, was they sent us this questionnaire and you filled in info about yourself next to your name. So most lads just took the piss. I think only a few lads ended up responding because we got it kind of late. But most lads kind of just, someone was the 17th best Marvin Gaye impersonator in Drogheda.
I
don't know if that got read out. I was too busy getting shouted at about my refereeing, but
yeah, it was bold.
I didn't hear it myself, but it would have been funny.
That's what you need to do for the D1 Bowl. Make up random facts, but say them with such confidence. And
here's Brendan. He's a big fan of AFI.Redesigned.
Yeah, we're just and there's Brendan Sims, voted the second most attractive Sims brother in 2019 and 2020.
Oh, you should say 2022 because they didn't have it during COVID.
Yes, postponed for COVID. But yeah, that'll be awesome. Yes, Owen's going to be on the The AFI official, AFI official YouTube. So you're officially official.
I am officially official.
Yeah.
Ooh, you kept that one.
Me and Chris are so just going to comment on the live stream to annoy you.
That's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, like what by we mean comment on the live stream is we're going to be there, so we're just going to come up to where you're commentating.
Well,
just
you can do that.
Yeah. So yeah, predictions. We're only 10 minutes over. We'll go the opposite way. Chrissy, start us off.
I am going to say the Vikings, just because I was at the Mavs Crusaders game, and just something wasn't clicking. They should have handled the Crusaders, in my opinion. They did seem the better team, but just things couldn't click. Vikings have proven all season that they are strong. And yes, numbers wise, the Mavericks, they are still a small team. They have gotten better than they were last year, but they're still a relatively small team. It's endurance, player endurance is going to be the determining factor, and I just think the Vikings are going to tip it. I'm sorry, Mavericks, please still let me on your bus.
You're fucking walking the limerick.
Get her name off the
list.
Yes. I'm sorry, Alex, and all the rest of you that I've bothered to get me on this bus.
And that you get to see on Saturday as well.
Yes. I will grovel on Saturday.
Dave, what about you?
So it could be either or. I think that the main thing I'd want from this game is the game we were almost hoping for a few weeks ago that finished like 6-12, like to have a real offensive shootout would be awesome. Which both teams have kind of said they were holding back, like we were saying earlier. They were holding back in the regular season game. So to see a big offensive shootout would be great. Going off semi-final results, obviously the Mavericks 9-8. Everybody in the country asking, what's the recent score though? What's the recent score? No, it is still 9-8. And what you call them? Oh my God, the Vikings putting 35 points up on the Rhinos. You can't look past that because the Rhinos defense have been touted as so good all year. So because of that, I think the Vikings are just on a steam train. Plus, they're probably more Premier Division ready right now than the Mavs. So I'm going to go Vikings.
Okay. And yourself, Dara?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings as well. I don't know what it is, but I think a big factor is the circumstances in which they lost last year's bowl is a big motivator, I think, for them to make sure that they put it right this year. I think that they've been able to come across really good defenses and they've been able to get the better of them, like you said, against the Rhinos in the semi-final. Numbers again, like I mentioned with the Mavericks, it's tough. They are very talented guys there, and they play really hard and really well. But playing hard for that long with that little numbers can get tiring. So I think like I said, I think the Vikings are ready for the Premier Division, and I think that this Saturday is the day that they finally go back up to it, I should say.
Yeah, that's fair. Owen?
Yeah, I would love the storybook kind of ending, like the Mavs to go from D2 to D1 up to the Shamrock Bowl, but I'd also love the T-shirt that you'd get next year saying Mavs for Sham.
Oh,
He's just bought the Mavs for Sam one.
Oh,
but
fucking brilliant! Like, I would get it in gold letters to mark the fucking millennia that there's been football in life.
It's a public service announcement to say to the Mavericks to bring out that shirt when they get into the Premier Division. I'd buy two.
Yeah, I'm putting up an Instagram story. Would you buy a Mavs for Sam t-shirt?
Or Mavs for Sham. We'll take the Mavs for Sam ones. We'll take the seals for it. Mavs for Sham, the Mavericks can have that. Yeah. Or Owen directly.
But sorry, I'm still predicting Anta. Yeah, no, as much as I would love that, they've got low numbers, and I don't know, that Crusaders result was kind of, I don't know, there was just, I didn't see it, so I don't fully know what happened, but it just, things clearly were clicking, and I can't see the Vikings not showing up. I mean, like, it's not like they have to drive across the country. It's like, could walk to it from where they play, like.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And because they've asked me to commentate and I don't want to get sacked before I've even started, I will go with the Vikings. And because they didn't say they didn't know who I was on a podcast after my refereeing had been called into question.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You got to back who back you, you know. Yeah. But yeah.
Also, I did hear. Sorry, just backing up my prediction for the Vikings. I did hear that Finn talking about, teams and stuff like that, and how he has a soft spot for the Pirates, and if he lived in Dublin, he'd play for the Pirates. So I'm starting a fund this off season now to get Finn O'Donovan moved to Dublin so he can play for the Pirates next year. Because who wants to play Premier Division anyway? It doesn't matter. It's all down in Division 2 where all the fun is. So forget about it.
That doesn't make any sense. Any Vikings players that move to Dublin have historically gone to the Panthers.
Coming to the Pirates, Owen, you've got enough. It's all right.
We don't have enough. We have 14 guys down in Cork.
You got all those boys from Trinity.
Yeah, we got none of them. Trinity. We got none of them.
Friendship.
Stop this toxic behavior.
Yes, don't need that in our lives. But yeah, like, it's, if you look the next season and you look to be who's going to be competitive in the SBC, like, the Vikings have the players, the Vikings have the outfit, the Admirals will get a really handy away game for the first time in history. Yeah,
still like a good hour and a half or more.
Yeah, if you looked at this Sunday, we're coming to the end of the season. There's been a little bit of a pittering out from the Mavs. It could be just to the condensed schedule. The weather is going to be wet, which doesn't lead to a lot of ball in the air. And I would say the Mavericks' aerial defense is probably one of the best in the league. So it is. So they're not going to be able to utilize that side of it. But fuck it. Fuck me. They're going to go down. They're going to be on the bus. We're going to stop at the Apple Green. We're going to stop at the Barack Obama Plaza, probably. And we're all going to get that fucking photograph with Barack and Michelle. And we're going to go down. And I'm going to watch them beat the fuck out of the Vikings. And I lifted the D2 bull last year, and I'm sure someone will hand it to me on the bus for a photograph on the way back up.
To get a medal.
Wear your medal from last year.
Yeah, a white T-shirt with marker on it saying "Mavs for Sam."
Yes, spelled incorrectly.
You're wearing your medal, and guys, This is what it looks like, by the way, on the way down the bus. Just so you know.
So
Remember this from last
remember
this?
this. Remember this. You don't want two runners-up medals, but no. The Mavs, I said it months ago. Mavs for Sam, they're going all the way, and that D1
Said
goal
what
is going to be
months ago?
sitting.
Oh no.
What?
No, he did. I
There we
forget
go.
who was it. The
You're back.
Rhinos.
No, it's
Was
more
it
the
the-
fact
Yeah.
that he froze.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the Mavs back
Was
when
it
it was
Rhinos?
when they went into the week before the Rhinos game. The week before where we were the 12th man, and then they got the 12th man,
Awesome.
and they got that kick. They like I said, if they beat the Rhinos, they're going all the way, and they're going all the way.
Fair enough.
And actually, no, I'm not going to fuck a thong. I'm not going to fuck a thong. I'm going to contain myself. I'm going to
We've
contain myself.
We've already fuckathon. We can both do fuckathons.
I just want I want to back them, like really back them. Like I'm all in.
I like them a lot.
Yes, they're good lads. They're good lads. Yeah. So me own here with the Mavs. Everyone else with the Vikings. That's gonna be a fun bus trip for you, Chrissy. And I believe, are we all descending upon Dundalk Rugby Club on Saturday?
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet, but
Yeah. So all you naysayers can explain to the Mavericks why you don't believe in them to their face.
I'm not going on the bus the next day.
It's all right. Brendan doesn't know who I am, so he won't be upset.
Yeah. But no, he watches my show. He watches our show. So.
Oh, that's very
Freudian
very
slip.
someone of you. Very someone of you right there.
No.
Don't want to slander or libel case against me. It's very someone of you.
Yes. Yes. Come see us in Dundalk. It's going to be the D2 Bowl. I had a great time at the last year's one. And yeah, it's go out and support the teams that are fucking busting their balls off down D2.
Yeah.
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 Sure.
So we're
You can tell
only
we're all
1
really
hour
tired.
20. Yeah, right.
We're all tired.
So we're all done. I've claimed the podcast as my own. I've offended a few people. That's good now. So yes,
usual Wednesday night for you then, yeah.
Yeah, been great. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Come see us in Dundalk. Watch Owen in Limerick on Sunday. Listen out for our heckles. Oh, are they not going to have like a camera on the commentary box?
I hope not.
Chris, bring a camera.
To figure out what's going on.
A live stream of just Owen.
There's a lack of communication, Chris. No one knows.
I'm going to live stream Owen.
Brendan Sims won Sexiest Sim 2019.
You're always very successful, Chris, when you live stream the Panthers.
What's that, sorry?
You're always very successful when you live stream players from the Panthers. You got that nice pick at the end, maybe it'll go well.
I did. Yeah.
And then I'll be disqualified afterwards.
Yeah.
Although I do hope there is like a stream on YouTube, and then you kind of get like that Chris Kamara moment saying, like, what happened? I don't know.
I don't know, Jeff.
No, he's for the he plays for the Panthers, so at one stage he'll turn round and it'll be Owen's clothes, but Chris Kamara will be sitting there as a ringer for this.
Bring in the Sky Sports ringers.
Yes, for that D1 coverage. Right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see us next week. We'll talk about the big bull with the big boys down in big old Cork. Goodbye.
Bye.